AECOM and our professionals are committed to working with FEMA to develop new and innovative solutions to further the science of hazard mitigation and improve FEMA processes and products.
My main background is in structural design. I have the knowledge and the skills to understand blast mitigation, progressive collapse, and evaluating forensic studies of existing buildings and as well as new building design.
My biggest asset to the team will be the relationships that I have, and not just with FEMA and the FEMA regions, but with the folks in the communities who need to be using this software, who need to be involved in mitigation. Really, my biggest asset is that I can walk into a room like an American Indian reservation with a community that's never heard of mitigation, explain it to them, help them understand that value, really get the technical jargon down to a level where folks understand it and they embrace it.
When there was a flood up in, on the St. Johns River and way up in northern Maine last year on the Canadian border, well, the regional manager, the state emergency manager and the regional administrator, our CLEAs at the time, needed information right away on specific facilities that were associated with that flooding. Well, we were able to return those maps around. They took them out there. They brought them to the town. They were prepared for the storm. They knew where their critical facilities were that could be impacted by this event, and it worked.
FEMA has become one of AECOM's most rewarding clients.
What we're talking about here is a way of being able to provide the client with a tool and data and services that live on by themselves, and not just you do it once and then in 10 years you got to do it all over again. You got to start from scratch. You've got to make that data so that it lives and it breathes, and that you know that it's out there and you're able to manage it from year to year. And that is one of the focuses I think a project like HMTAP should really have, is to be able to focus on providing data up front, but then using that data time and time again to really get a good hold of it and not have a throwaway project, but one that lives on for eternity, essentially.
Our people, who have worked on HMTAP and other FEMA programs, believe in FEMA's mission and are proud to be a part of working with FEMA to fulfill its mission.
Well, I've done environmental compliance for FEMA under the PA TAC contract, and I've also worked in the long-term community recovery program and worked with historic resources in that program. And that's given me a broader knowledge of the different FEMA program areas, and also gives me the ability to speak with people when I'm trying to talk about environmental compliance as it relates to the projects.
I've worked for a long time in this arena where I have a very good understanding of New England, of the FEMA Region 1, and of the issues that are important in this region. And it would be gratifying for me to be able to use that combination that I've been working for all these years for to come to a good conclusion and really help the region and help solve some of these problems.
We recently completed a handbook for FEMA. It was designed for city planners and city officials to recognize unreinforced masonry structures in their communities. We highlighted the specific hazards associated with those buildings, and then defined the best way to mitigate those hazards. I'm really excited with FEMA's new focus, and that is to address pre-disaster rather than just the recovery after a disaster has occurred. And it really is what I do the most, and that is the recognition of natural hazards, and then the identification of what are the best methods that can we use specific to a community to reduce those hazards.
While I was attending the University of Florida, this is about the time Hurricane Opal hit in 1995, I became very interested in the questions that came after in terms of redevelopment and loss reduction. I went down to the local emergency manager's office in Alachua County, Florida, down into a little basement, found the local emergency manager. His name was Craig Fugate. And at the time, I just wanted to volunteer and get involved with some of Alachua County's local hazard mitigation efforts, which were getting off the ground. So I worked with Craig closely on the National Flood Insurance Program, promoting the community rating system, getting out and working with the local municipalities in Alachua County over the course of the next 3 years.